Hello everyone, my name is Natalie and welcome to or back to my channel. Sorry I've been away for so long. Life happened, nothing truly bad or good, just things got away with me. So as I'm sure you guessed by the title, today I am going to be showing you all the books I've recently purchased. There's quite a lot, so let's get into it. The first book I purchased was The Golden Fleece. This is the fourth book in the Heart of Stone saga, I think that's what, yeah, Heart of Stone saga. And obviously I'm not going to tell you what's in this because it's the fourth book, but this series basically takes place down in Portland, England, and it takes place during the 18th century, and it's about inn owners and pirates and all that kind of madness, and it follows along their stories. Next up we have The Whispers from Warwickshire by Steve Garrison. This is a self-published book, and this contains basically ghost stories from the area of Warwick in the county of Warwickshire, England. I grew up quite near here, in fact I've worked in Warwick, and these are all true accounts of people's ghost stories from Warwickshire. So what the author did was he went and he spoke to people from the area or who have visited the area and have ghost stories, and so this is one I picked up and I'm really looking forward to reading it. The next ones I'm going to mention all together. So a few months ago now, about a month ago, I went to Shakespeare's birthplace in Stratford-upon-Avon. I've been there before. I went there when I was about 8-9 years old. Haven't been back since. Went back, and of course they've got a gift shop, so I picked up some really nice editions of some plates of Shakespeare. So we have A Midsummer Night's Dream, Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth, and then finally we have the Sonnets and A Lover's Complaint. I love Shakespeare's works, and I don't actually physically own any of Shakespeare's works, but I saw those and I thought the covers were gorgeous, so I had to get them. Next up we have The Haunted Bookstore, Gateway to a Parallel Universe. This is volume 1, and this is by Shinobu Maru. I am sure I butchered this. I should have looked up how to pronounce this person's name prior. I didn't. That's on me. Apologies for the awful pronunciation. So this is essentially about a bookshop that's in the spirit realm, and apparently it's full of Japanese folklore, and yeah, it's a bookshop but it takes place in the spirit realm, but it's also where a human accidentally falls into the realm. So I am so looking forward to this. This is actually a light novel, so it's not a manga. I think I'm gonna love it. I hope I'm gonna love it. Next up we have Femina by Janina Ramirez, and as it says here, a new history of the Middle Ages through the women written out of it. So this is just a non-fiction book all about the women who have been written out of especially medieval history. So I'm really looking forward to this. I've recently been very interested in reading books written by women about women from the past and retelling their stories. I've been so into that at the moment, and I'm so thankful that nowadays there's so many of that around. I can't wait to read this one. And like I said, it is non-fiction, so it is obviously factual about these real women that have disappeared and have been written out of history. Next up we have a book I'm really looking forward to, and that is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. This has been illustrated by Ellis Hurst, and some of the, I don't know what's spoiled and what's not, there, like the illustrations throughout it are so beautiful, and I've actually never read this one of Neil Gaiman's before, and I'm so looking forward to it. And not gonna lie, I'm really looking forward to seeing all the illustrations inside as well. And I think the best way to describe this book to you would be to read directly from the back. A dead man on the back seat of a car, and warm milk at the farmhouse. An ancient little girl and an old woman who saw the moon being made. A beautiful housekeeper with a monstrous smile, and dark forces woken that were best left undisturbed. And I'm so looking forward to this one. I think I remember Neil Gaiman saying that of all the works he's ever written, this has been the most personal to him because it's taken more events from his actual childhood into it. Don't quote me on it, but I'm sure I've heard him say that. I think it was about this one he was saying that. But either way, I'm so looking forward to it. So earlier I mentioned I am loving reading stories about women written by women, especially old myths and retelling the stories of true women who exist. These two books are two ones like that. And the first one is Electra by Jennifer Saint. So this book tells the story of, I'm gonna so butcher this name, it's ancient Greek and it's Clymenstra. I think I've said that wrong, I'm pretty sure I've said it wrong. And she was the sister to Helen of Troy. It also follows Cassandra, who was the princess of Troy. And then it follows Electra, who's the youngest daughter of Clementia and Agamemnon. So really looking forward to this. I absolutely love like ancient Greece and ancient Rome, and I just love all the myths and legends that come from these areas, and I can't wait to read about these women and how the decisions of men basically affected their fates. And then on the same line we have Ithaca, which is written by Claire North. And funnily enough, Jennifer Saint, who wrote the last book I mentioned, actually I didn't notice this in the bookshop, but has quoted at the top, I don't know if you can see that, but she has said, darkly fascinating, raw and heartbreaking. And this one follows Penelope of Ithaca, who was the wife of Odysseus, I think is how his name's said. I may have got that completely wrong. As you can see, I'm not doing well with pronunciations today. The next two books are ones that I've wanted to read for a long while now and have only just managed to pick up. So the first one is Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. I have heard so much good stuff about this and I can't wait to read it. It follows our main character Frances and her friendship with, what's his name? Alid. And I'm pretty sure this one doesn't have any romance in it. I think it is just a friendship. And I think it's telling what happens when friends betray your trust and a breakup of a friendship. I think, again, don't quote me on that. It's been a long time since I actually heard anything about this book. And the back doesn't really give it away. So yeah, really looking forward to this one. And then the next one is Loveless again by Alice Oseman. And this follows our main character Georgia, and it follows her trying to work out why romance and love never seem to work out for her. And I think it's a journey of aromantic and asexuality and how she finds herself fitting in with her friend group. So yeah, as someone who is demisexual, I'm really looking forward to reading this. I can't wait to see what Alice Oseman has done with this concept. The next one I have is a book that I will definitely be reading in stages because it's actually a bind-up of a bunch of short stories, and that is the Neil Gaiman Reader Selected Fiction. And I am clearly a massive fan of Neil Gaiman and his work. I've mentioned his books on my channel multiple times. Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman is one of my favourite books of all time, and I can't wait to read this and read some of his short stories, as I haven't actually got into any of his short stories yet. I've got the book Trigger Warning, but I haven't read it yet. This also takes excerpts? I don't know. In case any of you didn't know, I also have dyslexia and it's really kicking my ass today and I don't know why. But extracts, that's what I was looking for. This book also has extracts from some of his other books, so you can see a snippet of those in here as well. Again, I will be reading this in little bursts, and I can't wait to get more into his work. Okay, so the next two books I've got are actually two new releases, which is a surprise for me because I don't usually, I don't normally keep up with new releases. I usually miss them and end up buying them like 6 months or even a year or a couple of years after they've come out. So I'm pretty happy to be on top of my game with these two. The first one is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, and I think the best thing to do would be to just read the blurb to you. Athena is a literacy darling and June Hayward is literally nobody. When Athena dies in a freak accident, June steals her unpublished manuscript and publishes it as her own under the ambiguous name June Persson. But as evidence threatens June's stolen success, she discovers exactly how far she will go to keep what she thinks she deserves. What happens next is entirely everyone else's fault. So I'm really intrigued by this. It also seems like a bit of a mystery, and yeah, I absolutely can't wait to see where this goes. I can't wait to read this, and I absolutely love this cover. And underneath the dust jacket, I don't know if you can see, can you see that? But there are eyes. I think you might be able to just about see, which is very cool. I love when publishers do that and add just a little extra something for the hardback editions. So love this and can't wait to read it. Fun fact, I've never actually read anything by R.F. Kuang before. Obviously she is the author of the Poppy War trilogy. She's also the author of Babel, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, and I'm interested in reading both of those, so I'm happy that I get to read something of her work. And the last book I have this haul is again another non-fiction book, and this is Anne Boleyn and Elizabeth I, The Mother and Daughter Who Changed History by Tracy Borman. I have recently really got into the Tudor dynasty and studying everything I can about it and reading everything I can about it, especially Catherine of Aragon and Anne Boleyn. I'm really interested to study and learn more about their lives, and I feel like this is going to be a really interesting read. So yeah, this is more because I'm interested in that. Obviously, if you're not interested in the Tudor period, then this book isn't going to be your thing. Okay everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. If any of you have read any of these books, please let me know. And in the comments down below, why don't you also let me know what books you have picked up recently? I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.